Hello and happy Tuesday. My name is Wendy Lee from CreativeLeeYours.com and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. Super excited you're joining me today in my studio for some crafty fun. Yay! All right, I've got a good one for you today. We are going to do a technique using decorative masks, and we're heat embossing, and we're creating shadow stamping with our masks. So it's super, super cool, I think. And I hope that you'll enjoy it. So we're going to do that in just a moment. You're going to see behind my head some cards that are up there. So I am working on today putting together my Butterflies and Flowers, a mask, decorative mask class. So hopefully that will post later today on my website. You can check my events on my website. There's a tab that has online classes. So you'll have events that are happening and you can just find the online classes there. So that will be posting hopefully today. And this will give you a little sneak peek of Maker's Mojo as well. So we have our next Maker's Mojo event happening in April. So just around the corner. The date is April 22nd. And I am going to be doing yet another cool technique, not the same as these, but another cool technique with decorative masks that you are not going to want to miss. So be sure to register for that. That event registration is open now. All right, let me switch over and let's have some crafty fun. All right, so these are the Butterflies and Flowers decorative masks. These are in the mini catalog, and I love them. Now, I will tell you they've been super popular to the point that right this minute you cannot order them. They are due back in stock the week of April 4th. So that's next week. So no worries, you'll be able to get them soon. But I wanted to go ahead and show them to you. We have lots of other decorative masks. There's actually 2 other sets in our annual catalog, and both of those are on the retiring list. So if you love masks, definitely get those. You can do so many great things with them. So I'm glad that you guys are joining me today. Hey, Gwen and Jean and Janet, so glad to see you. Oh, you're back in town, Janet. Sounds like. You've been traveling a lot, woman. All right, so let me show you the original card that I did using these masks. Well, hold on, let's talk about the mask first. So this particular mask set has 6 different designs. So there's this kind of vine looking one. And then you've got kind of some flower builder masks here. So you've got some flowers, you've got some leaves, and then you've got these flowers. So these will mix and match inside those. And then you've got some flowers on this one here, and then our butterfly. And then we've got a couple of really nice patterns that you can do with them as well. This is the one we're going to use today. But the tips that I'm sharing with you, you can use for any of your decorative masks. So it doesn't matter if you have these particular ones or not, although you are going to want to get these. They are so awesome, especially the butterflies and the floral images. They are just stunning when you get those all worked out. So let me show you the original card I made. So this is the first one I made. And so this is our embossed shadow stamping technique that we're going to learn today with our masks. And this background is embossed, and that is embossed with, sadly, the retiring Bark 3D embossing folder, one of my favorites. So that is going to be going away. So sad, so sad. And then this die that I use for the sentiment is from the Ornate Frames dies, also on the retiring list. Now, this one's discounted. So this is normally $34 and it is on sale for $27.20. So I'm talking US prices. So I can only sell to, you can only purchase from me if you're in the US as far as Stampin' Up! Products. Now, you can purchase my tutorials anywhere in the world, but as far as Stampin' Up! Products, you'd have to purchase from a demonstrator in your local area if you are not in the US. So we're going to be using these dies today, but I'm going to switch up the embossing folder. I'm going to bring in the Hive 3D, which is a new folder that we've got in our mini catalog. So we're going to use that one today. And then you might not recognize the sentiment on this, or you might, but this was from the Special Moment stamp set. Now, this was a Sale-a-Bration offering that we just had in our January and February Sale-a-Bration. You could have earned this free with a $100 purchase. So that is what this original card was made from. Today, we are going to feature the Happy and Heartfelt stamp set. This is one of my favorites in the mini catalog. It's got such great fonts, and there's lots of different sentiments that you can use for just about any occasion. So that's what we're going to play with today. So let me get my work surface all set up here. So let's move some of this out of the way so we don't make a big mess. We might still make a big mess. But one of the things I found when working with the mask is, first of all, you need to cover your surface, right? Because we are going to make some big of a mess here. Then I want to bring in the cardstock layer that I want to use the mask on, and I'm bringing in some painter's tape. And I'm just going to pull off some painter's tape, and I'm going to make a little loop with it. And then I like to put my fingers on it a little bit and get some of the stickum off because it's still super sticky. If it's too sticky, it's going to tear your paper. Now, for this piece, it doesn't really matter, but when you get to the masking part, it does. So what I'm trying to do is I am going to adhere this down to my work surface. I actually ought to go ahead and let me go ahead and adhere my work surface down as well so it doesn't slide on the surface I'm on. Because we're going to be moving some things around, and we do not want this to shift on us until we're ready for it to shift, right? We don't want our lines blurred. We want a really clean design. So this, to me, is super important, is to get this tape down in place. Next, you want to take your mask and place it down where you want it on your piece of paper, right? And you want to go ahead and tape this down as well. We want this nice and stable. So I am going to add some of this tearing tape over to the side. Now, I didn't get some of the stickum off with my fingers first. I probably should have. It may tear the grid paper, but I'm not too worried about it. This piece is smaller than the mask, so I'm not actually putting the tape on the cardstock itself. So I should be good right there. All right, now let the fun begin. I'm going to bring in my Memento black ink pad and a blending brush. And I am going to apply black ink all over the surface of this. Now, I like to use a circular motion when I'm using the mask. So we're going to shake the table a little bit. So apologies if that's making you dizzy, because you want to get a nice depth of ink coverage on this. So I would not use black StazOn. And the reason I wouldn't use StazOn is because it will stain and stay on your blending brush as well as your mask. It's just, the type of ink it is. So Memento, I found, was a good way to do it. Now you want to make sure you have a nice inked up pad. I'm not getting quite the depth of color I'm hoping for, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple passes over this because I'm on I'm on Daffodil Delight for my cardstock. So it's going to take a little bit more ink to cover it. And I want a nice deep tone here. You guys tried masks yet? And do you love them or do you hate them? I can see both. I'm not sure there's an in-between. Maybe there is. Again, sorry about the shaking. Hopefully that's not too bad on camera. All right, so I've got my black. I'm going to go a little bit deeper, do a little bit more. So these masks are kind of like a stencil, if you're not sure what a mask is. Feeling pretty good about this. All right, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say it's dark enough. Whether it is or not, we'll find out in a moment. Okay, now before I remove that, what I found was very helpful for me was if I took a paper towel or a towel of some sort and wiped away the excess ink before I start handling this. I got so messy with inky fingers, and then I had all my cards had ink in places I did not want ink to be in. So I found that if I wipe this off, tape and all, just getting that loose ink off of there, I had much more success. And plus, then this gives me something on the side to wipe my little fingers off on if I need to. Now, I am going to remove this mask. And so I found when I'm pulling the tape, if I pull it at an angle, I have less chance of ripping. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to hold this bottom one because I don't want this to curl up on me. I'm going to reuse this. And then same thing on this. See if I can get that started. There we go. So I'm going to pull this one off. And set that aside for a moment. Now you could get clean tape each time if you want to. You don't have to, it's up to you. So now we have a nice, cool black pattern right on my Daffodil Delight cardstock. Turned out pretty cool, don't you think? All right, so that's not all. We're gonna do one more layer. So you could leave it like this. This would be fabulous on the card and go from there. But let's step it up one time. We are going to do an offset, and we're going to also heat emboss our offset. So what I'm going to do is I'm lining my pattern back up, and hopefully you guys can see this. So now you see it looks all black. If I slightly shift, see how I see yellow? You see that? Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. See how I've got it slightly shifted so you see the yellow? Let's see if I can go back out. I don't know. I've not ever done that before, so I don't know how good or bad that is. So once I'm happy with the placement with that slight shift there, I want to take this mask back down. Oops. So I may have to move it as I tape it a little bit, because that's going to want to shift on me. So I'm going to get that down really good. And then on the other side, I'm going to repeat the same thing. I want to put this tape back on. Now, I'm going to check my fingers and make sure they're as clean as they possibly can. The next thing I want to do is I want to apply Versamark ink. So that's our clear sticky ink that we use to emboss with. Now, I found because of the dynamic of this pad, I did not need a blending brush. However, make sure it's nice and inked up and juicy. I am using my ugliest pad because if there is black ink on here, I don't want to transfer it to a nicer pad. So this is my Versamark pad that I use for when I do crazy things like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press that Versamark ink down into my paper here, down into my cardstock through that mask. I don't want to shift it. I want that mask to stay in the same place. I just want that ink to go right down in those little grooves. And hopefully this is going to work out okay. We'll find out in just a moment, won't we? All right. Now that I'm all inked up, now this time I can't wipe it off because I will end up messing up my cardstock. So I'm just going to remove this tape, and this tape's going to go in the trash. I am not going to try to reuse this again. Okay, carefully remove my stencil. Now I'll take this into the bathroom later when we're done, and I will wash it. You could try to wash it with your chamois, but I think right now I'm just going to set it aside. Now, if you had an anti-static powder pack, our old embossing buddy, I would have done that before I did this second layer. Now, I did not do that, so we may have some strange results. I'm going to carefully lift this up. Got my tape here. And I'm holding on to this layer with the tape on the back, good or bad. That's what I'm doing. And I am going to dip it into my white embossing powder. Let's shake off the excess that we can. And we're going to rotate that, and we're going to do it on the other side. Now, if you had a spoon, you could do a spoon. That would probably work really well. I forgot to grab it. I'm probably getting it all over the back where the tape is as well. So I've got some spots that aren't sticking as well as I would like them to. So I'm going to try to dip those again. See if I can get a little bit more powder. I might not have gotten enough ink. But we'll see. So we can tap some of that off. All right, I'm going to go with this one. Let's see what we've got. So let's move this embossing powder out of our way. I'm going to bring in my heat tool. So I'm going to hold it about an inch, inch and a half away from the paper, just like I normally do when I emboss. Let's see if I can slide this tape up a little bit so I'm on one end. I don't want to melt the tape, but I also don't want to get my sticky fingers on the top here. So let's see what we can do. So I'm just going to wait for it to melt as we work our way across.
Right, there it goes. So I should have used the embossing buddy between the layers. Or if I had prepared a second layer ahead of time, I would have got a crisper edge. I think my black ink is still a little bit wet. Yeah, it looks like it stuck to the black ink more than I wanted it to.
All right, well, it is what it is. You don't know until you try it, right? When you're designing at home and you're the only one, you can walk away for a while. Well, not nearly as cool as I really had hoped for it to be, but it is still pretty darn cool. My black is just not as stark as I would have liked it to be. You know, that's okay. But ideally, I would have been better off if I would have either heated the black to dry it with the heat tool, or if I had prepared a second piece that was already dry, that the powder wouldn't stick to, that would have been a good option as well. So it's not as crisp. See the difference here? So we've got the blue versus the black, and you can see the white specks on there. But I'm still going to go ahead and put the card together. You guys get the point of what I'm trying to do. And it's good for you to be able to see the mistakes, right? So you can not repeat those when you do your turn. All right, let me go ahead and move this board out of the way. We'll go ahead and finish up our project. All right, not always perfect, but that's okay. So next, I'm going to pull in my thick weight card base. So I'll make sure that all the cut dimensions and the complete supply list, and I'm including the supply list for both color options of my cards here. So you can see what you like better. You might like one or the other better. So there's my thick card base. And then I've already embossed my white layer with this Hive 3D folder. Isn't that cool? Love the 3D folders. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down, and I'm just going to do it flat. We could totally pop this up. No, let's pop it up. It's got to be popped up. We got to do it. The first one I did, the original one, I did flat, but you know what? I think I want it popped up as well. It's so hard not to pop all these things up. You don't have to pop it up, but I'm going to do it. Yeah, it is a cool technique, Jenna. I agree. Yeah, you use a wooden clothespin. Yeah, I've got some tweezers, but I really didn't want to have anything on the front side. So since that tape was already there, I just chose to use it. So we're going to go ahead and now layer this on our basic black layer. It's really bumming me out that we didn't get a nice clean image there. I'll let it go. All right, now this layer here, I have got some Simply Elegant trim, and I've pulled the gold, and I'm going to wrap this around here a couple of times and tie this in a bow. I'm not worrying about where the bow is right now. I just want to get my bow tied, and then I can slide it over to where I want it to be. So I'm going about halfway-ish. See if we can get this a little bit tighter. One of the things about the trim, this cording, is sometimes it is difficult to get a nice tight knot that holds. Nice. I like it. And then we're going to pop this up on our card front with some dimensionals. And almost done with this sheet. So I'm just going to clip these sides. You can use every bit of these sheets, as you know. if you didn't know that already. My computer is deciding to run a scan. So hopefully I don't lose you guys. All right, so we're going to place this right there in the front. Super cool. And then let's bring in our sentiment. So I have actually already stamped my sentiment. I want you to choose. So we can do the white stamped with Memento Black, or should we do the black with the white embossed? I kind of think the black with the white embossed, but what do you guys think? Yes, I could punch some daisies, Jean. That's very, very true. I could definitely layer a daisy in there, but I like it. You know, I would have liked it to be a little crisper, but this is, it's nice that this happened because now you guys can see what happens if you do it without having the ink really, really dry. You're going to have that moisture in there that's going to attract that embossing powder. So it's good to see both because you might like it. You might like it less crisp. So you guys like the black? All right, we're going black. Thank you, Terry. I like the black too. Just thought I'd show both and kind of see which one you guys like better. I think either could be fun. All right, let's grab some dimensionals. Let's grab a couple more just because, or at least one more. I switched packs right in the middle. I forgot that I had this partial pack down here. All right, and hopefully this is in the right place that I can just slide this on. It's good, yes, I'm happy with that. So I wanted it coming out past that little edge there and just covering this little knot. Sweet, I love it, love it, love it, love it. And then I want to put some bling. Of course, we want some bling on the front. So I'm going to pull in my in color jewels. And while I know that they are not Daffodil Delight, these pale papaya ones will work wonderfully with this. Now, these gems are also on the last chance list, and they are also marked down from $7 to $5.60. Yes, 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 yes. So you can stock up on these. I had my Sale-a-Bration celebration event this past weekend, and we used these on one of our projects, or on our projects for the week. And they turned out really, really nice. And again, the colors or the papers that we were using weren't necessarily matchy to this, but it turned out really, really nice. So I just sprinkled on a couple in the center of those daisies. Now you could go hog wild and put them all over. I just did a couple just to add a small little amount of bling to that, which is nice, cute. Are you guys liking it? All right, so let's do the end side. So I've got my sentiment, and we are going to stamp that on Memento with Memento Black. So my little thank you, I'm going to have being awesome is just your thing. And I'm going to stamp this down in the corner here. Okay, and then we're going to layer this on a black piece as well. So these layers are the same size as the ones on the outside. I think it's nice to bring that framed look to the inside as well. It gives it a little extra finishing touch, steps it up a little bit. You don't have to add these layers, but I think they're nice. All right, and we'll pop this on the inside. Cute. All right, so do you like the yellow one or you like the blue one better? I mean, you could do any color combination that you want to do. I really like the contrast of this yellow versus black. You know, the blues are nice and the tones are blue. So this is Misty Moonlight with the Balmy blue, I believe, unless I wrote that down wrong, which I might have. Let's look. No, it's Balmy blue. Yay. Ah, I did it right. So we've got that going on with the white embossed as well. And really, I found the key to the white embossing is to get a really good coverage of that Versamark. But again, we need to let our ink underneath dry so that we don't end up with the fuzziest like we have there. But it's so pretty. All right, good? Yes? All right, so I mentioned to you that we are using these masks, or I am, for Maker's Mojo. So I don't know if you're familiar with Maker's Mojo. So that is an online stamping escape event, creative escape event that I do with my partners, Melissa Kerman, Audra Monk, Anne-Marie Heil and Joe Blackman. And we do 10 live presentations. They could be techniques, they could be fun folds, anything goes. And we show alternate projects of each of our projects that we're showing you as well, so that you go home with a whole bunch of ideas. You get the video recordings as well as the PDFs. So just giving you a little hint that we are going to be doing some masking fun for one of my projects that you don't want to miss it. It's going to be super, super cool. So registration is open now. Join us. I hope. And if you really like the masks, again, I'll be posting my butterflies and flowers mask class, hopefully in the next 24 hours. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. If you're enjoying the content, please share it with your crafty friends. If you're watching on replay, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right. Bye for now. And I can't wait to see you guys next Tuesday for a little more crafty fun.